attitude, they got a cruddy attitude, or you just feel like they're using you, all the dirty jobs you get, however that would work. Obeying your boss can be hard. Okay, now, let's do it on the same thing. Why is obeying Jesus hard? Sometimes we don't think he's right.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Sometimes we don't think he knows what he's talking about. Okay, all right.
It's pretty easy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, let's just put Jesus in there. You forget about the boss, and then all of a sudden the light bulbs can turn on, and sometimes we think, God's off, or I don't know, he's angry at us, or I mean, there's all sorts of. That's not what this says. Now, there is a dilemma. What if your employer or boss asks you to do a task that violates your personal conscience? It goes against your values. How about that? Your boss asks you to go on, in effect, steal something. Steal someone's customers. That's happened before. Or lie to the customer. Do something that morally it violates your conscience as a person. Now, what if they ask you to do that? Respectfully.
Right. Gently.
Then be prepared.
Excuse me?
Then be prepared.
Yeah, respectfully, because ultimately, this isn't about you and your boss, it's about following God. God will take care of you. God will give you. God will meet your needs. He'll get you what you need. And that's difficult. It is difficult to sometimes, you need to be honest with yourself. Because sometimes there's a practice that may be in your particular workplace that everybody sort of does. Everybody else kind of does it, but you can't do that. You just need to be honest with yourself. But I'd say this is not the normal thing. If it were the normal thing, you wouldn't work there. That's the normal thing. Just get over yourself. Give your boss the Jesus treatment. How about that? I think things are going to go better for you. Things will major improve. Number 2, change your focus and motivation. As here it talks about in this passage, obey them not only to win their favor when their eye is on you. Sometimes we're trying to win the favor of the boss. Obey them not just to win their, don't try to win their good grace. Or it's about image when their eye is on you. That has to do with motivation. But as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from your heart. Do God's will from your heart. What does that mean? Change your focus and motivation. Don't focus on trying to create a good image at your work. Don't aim at being a brown noser. Try to win their approval. Don't focus on the money. Instead, aim at serving the Lord wholeheartedly. Submit to them, but aim at serving the Lord wholeheartedly. Aim at fulfilling God's will, God's way, for God's glory. Remember, God is just and will compensate you justly. That's what the passage said. God will compensate you justly. Let's go back to this passage. So wholeheartedly to serve the Lord, not people.
because you know that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good they do. The Lord is going to reward you. This isn't for a paycheck. Yeah, you get a paycheck. I mean, there's multiple motivations why we have our job. I mean, yeah, you should get paid. But the real question is, what's the primary motivation at your job? I heard a story this last week of this Bible teacher. I'm trying to think his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was on an airplane, and the airplane was about ready for takeoff, and then they had to wait another 15 minutes. They would get on the airplane, then they had to wait another 15 minutes. People were upset. This one guy was haggling the stewardess. I mean, major haggling the stewardess. Stewardess was so gracious. And Howard Hendricks, that's his name. Howard Hendricks was taking that in. And he just, and the delay was longer than 15 minutes. People were yelling, and I mean, this one guy was specifically yelling and screaming, and this lady was just calm and gracious. And then after the plane got lifted off, he took the lady aside and said, I just want to talk to you. He said, I'm just major impressed with how you conducted yourself. He says, I want to write the airplanes. A note about how you conducted yourself in the move. Well, it was very uncalled for. And the lady says, I don't work for the airlines. I work for Jesus Christ. And my husband and I this morning prayed. And I will conduct myself as a Christ follower today in my work. And it just struck Howard Hendricks. He's a Bible teacher. He knows the Bible. He says, that's right. I mean, she was right out of it. I do not work for the airlines. I work for Jesus Christ. Change your focus. You don't work for whatever your employer is. You work for Jesus Christ. Aim at serving the Lord. It uses the word heart in that passage a lot. Serve wholeheartedly. Aim at fulfilling God's will. How does God want you to conduct yourself? I think sometimes we think, if only I had this job or that other job. God's not as concerned about the job as how you are in your job. It's your character that comes to the surface in the job. I think many of us are qualified for a lot of jobs. I was just reading, they did this study on some of the hardest jobs. They consider the hardest jobs in the United States. Considering all the different types of accident. Some jobs you get a lot more accidents than other jobs. Concerning accident rate, pay rate, hours and all this. I mean, some of the hardest jobs in America, that butcher. They said that's a tough job. An oil rig, someone's working out in the oil rig somewhere. They said that's a hard job. And they had different jobs in there that were very difficult. And then I looked for the thing, they didn't have the 10 best jobs. It was probably good they didn't do that, right? But anyway. Remember, God is just and will compensate you justly. So what is the primary motivation in your job? Obviously you want money. Obviously it kind of agrees with your skill set or gift set. Obviously it kind of works into your time frame of your life somehow, or else you can't sustain it. But the primary motivation needs to be, I'm there serving Jesus. That's what I'm there for. This is an opportunity to serve Jesus. That's why that's the primary. What's the primary motion? Why did you accept the job that you're in? Normally, why you accepted the job you were in and took the job is different than why you continue to work there. Normally, the motivations that get us in there don't keep us there. We have to shift. And I would say a good one to shift to is aim at serving the Lord wholeheartedly. And if I look at the third thing about this passage here, we're down here, and masters. Okay, now they're finally talking to the boss. They've been talking about the employees up to this point. Now, masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Oh, so what are masters supposed to do? Treat the slaves, treat their employees in the same way. And what does that mean? With respect, with reverence, with sincerity of heart, serving wholeheartedly, that makes a great boss. Do all these things, and then it says, do not threaten them. Since you know that he who is both the master and your master is in heaven, and there's no favoritism with him. So God doesn't look at the bosses here, and the workers here. God's eyes, we're all the same. You just happen to be the boss, and I'm giving you that opportunity. Remember, the ground's level. So a Christian boss sets the example. Respects the employees, reveres their employees, listens to them. I mean, if you revere someone, that means you're going to listen. Serves their employees with a sincere heart, focuses on fulfilling the will of God and not propping up their image in front of their employees. Justly compensates their employees, sees work as an opportunity to wholeheartedly serve God, does not threaten employees but motivates them through positive relationships of grace and truth, realizes the ground is level in God's eyes. What is most difficult in leading others as a boss? What's most difficult there? Again, there's difficulties on both sides of the fence. How do you deal with employees who just go back to a bad attitude, don't want to do the task that they were hired to do? I mean, those are difficult. That's difficult. I've had people talk to me about leadership this and leadership that as a pastor. And I think to myself, just be a leader for a while and all of a sudden you'll figure it out. It's not as simple as it looks from this side of the from this side, we're all the same here. And half the stuff we do, it is a judgment call. If we vote on anything, we'll probably get nothing done. Someone's got to make a call. We have to trust each other. You can give a bad workplace. How about this? There's I'll tell you, Dr. M and Dr. K. More doctors here. Dr. M was a surgeon, Dr. K was assistant, was the anesthesiologist. The nurse stood vigilantly by. The patient was an elderly woman, and she was presently snoring on the operating table. The date was October 24, 1991, and all was going as planned. An operation was scheduled and underway at the Medical Center of Central Massachusetts in Worcester, Massachusetts. Dutifully doing his job, Dr. K administered the anesthesia, sending the patient to a deep, sense-free slumber. With the confidence that comes with more than 2 decades of experience, Dr. K deftly began the procedure.